Okay, I guess now is as good a time as any. I'm waiting for stuff to render down here. My name's Sam McGee. I am a cinematographer by trade. This is my office at Inland Film Co. I've been using this bad Jackson here. This is the ARRI Alexa Mini LF. When I'm not being director of photography for Inland Film Co., I'm a photographer. This is one of my favorite cameras that we have in our house. This was my wife's grandma's camera, and it actually, when she gave it to my wife, it had some old Fuji 400 ISO film in it, and that's actually what I have in here now. I have expired film in there right now. This is my waist level viewfinder Rolleicord. This was my wife's grandpa's camera, and what I want to talk about today is this. By the way, I literally took one of our cameras from work, threw it on my desk. This microphone was already here because we do voiceovers at our desk for our videos, and we also do a podcast, Cinetherapy, if you want to check it out. So this is literally the least amount of work I could have done to set up a video. There's a window right here, threw the camera on the desk, and I plugged the HDMI cord from my monitor in there. So this is literally my color grading monitor up here. This is the Hasselblad 907X Special Edition. This is the Special Moon Edition. I have experience with the X1D, the sister camera to this, kind of Hasselblad's flagship mirrorless camera, the X1D Mark II. My sister-in-law, Sydney Bay, is a photographer. She's a wedding photographer, and she shoots with the X1D. It's a great camera. It's an awesome camera. That was my first experience with medium format digital. I have used medium format film for a long time, and I like the way that Portra and Fuji, and then there's all these black and white films. I like the way that those respond. It makes me happy to photograph slowly. My reasoning for going with a waist level viewfinder, weird setup in modern day is that I like the waist level slowing me down, forcing me to look at things in a different angle. So the screen flips up. Obviously, this digital back is made to snap onto. This is made to snap onto any of the cameras in Hasselblad's history. It's the same mount as any of the historical cameras, and that's the reasoning behind this style of a camera body. It's supposed to be put on the back of a film camera. That's what it is. But they give you this mirrorless, so you can use the mirrorless lenses, the XCD lenses, which is really nifty. And I plan to use it like this most of the time. I do not personally own a Hasselblad film camera. I want to get a 500 series camera really bad. The college that I went to, Spokane Falls Community College, they actually have a fleet of 500 series cameras, and I asked if I could buy one. They said no. It's kind of sad. But this is the 65 millimeter XCD lens. It's about a 35 equivalent-ish, and I really like that focal length on our Cinema. This is actually our Sigma 18 to 35 Cine lens on an FS7. I shoot moody portraiture. I shoot some product, and I think 50 megapixels being able to crop and zoom in any way I want is pretty phenomenal, but I don't crop and zoom in a whole lot. I like the aspect ratio of medium format. Almost a square, but it's not a square. The ergonomics of the waist level viewfinder, it feels exactly like film. Feels exactly like using a film camera. The button, this is the shutter release button right here. And this is the knob, so you can adjust. I have it currently set to aperture value. The menu, it's the same menu as all of their other cameras. It is a touch screen, so I can come down here and touch things and change things. I have it set to aperture value, center weighted for the light metering. I've got it on single who's firing off a ton of shots on a medium format camera, but you can if you want to. So this is a pretty sweet interface. If you swipe up, there's a menu for all these other things. I did put the new software on it to give me video, but frankly, I will not be using this for video. I did notice when I downloaded the new firmware that they hid these little inputs for headphone jack, microphone. I noticed that these are for flash, but they're flash sync, but they're also for the old. There's a couple older models of Hasselblad that the electronics will not pick up the shutter release, so you have to plug it in. I think it comes out of the flash sync on those older models. So when you fire the shutter, when you engage the shutter on the older models, the flash sync lets this know to capture an image on the digital sensor. So here's the shutter button. This is how you use the camera. It feels like using a film camera. It feels like using waist level viewfinder film. Here's my shutter on this Rolleicord. My shutter is right here. This is my shutter right here. And I control focus right here. So it definitely feels like a film waist level viewfinder medium format camera. It operates, the shutter sounds like a leaf shutter. It's pretty sweet. It is a leaf shutter, so all of the shutter mechanism is inside the lens. I know that I enjoy the technical value that comes with such a well-designed Swedish product. It does say made in Sweden on the back, which is actually a favorite little piece of mine. Here we've got this little window opens up, and there's a slot for 2 SD cards. I have, my business partner really likes these new Sony tough cards. They're all one piece of metal. It's metal. It's not plastic. Battery, everything is in there. There's USB-C for charging and for connecting it to data, and that's kind of hidden. It's really nice. I can't talk so much about the speed of the autofocus, and that was the first couple of questions. I posted an unboxing video, and the first couple of questions were, how's the autofocus? I mean, it's not as fast as a Canon 1DX or I don't know what the newest Nikon is. I don't know what the newest anything is because I don't pay attention to camera models. I paid attention to this because it was exactly why I use film. The sensor is huge. The images, you can zoom in so far. There's so much detail. But at the end of the day, it's the feeling that I get from medium format that draws me to this. It's the feeling that I get from shooting medium format that draws me to this. And so I love that my sister-in-law has the X1D, and it's for weddings. It's awesome. You get it up to your eye. You shoot. That's great. The funniest thing so far, the first couple of people that hold this camera, my brother-in-law and my wife, their reaction is this. How am I supposed to? This hurts. The shutter right here hurts my arm. It's because that's not how you're supposed to hold it. In the first concept image, the renderings that were released of this camera before it was announced what it was going to be, they did show a handle on this. And that is common. I do have a handle for this guy, but the handle has been nowhere to be found other than that one rendering. But I will point out that there are multiple mounts down here. There's the standard threaded mount for a tripod mount, but there's also another thread that looks a little smaller. Maybe it's the same size. And there's pins, which I'm assuming are for accessories in the future. We'll see. I do plan on eventually putting this on the back of a 500 series camera. I'm very excited about that. If you are looking into this style of camera and into this body, the 907X body, or even the CFV II digital back, you probably already know what you're looking for. And hopefully this is a satisfied person, a satisfied review to make you feel better about the idea of purchasing it. It's expensive. It's strange. If you're watching this and you're just interested in what it is, it's different. That gives you a feeling, and I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to that feeling. I get the same feeling with this giant cinema sensor. This is larger than a full frame 35 millimeter sensor. ARRI takes their Super 35 Alexa sensor, they flipped it vertically and they added another one and they stitched them together to make the LF sensor. And then they stitch a third one together to make the Alexa 65 sensor. So this is not, they might be the same size sensor, maybe. They might be, this one might be a little bigger, I don't know. But that is what it is. Follow me on Instagram to see if I eventually start posting things. Check out my website. You'll see a lot of my film work there, a lot of my previous work there. I'll put that link in the description below. I have no intention of being a YouTube personality, so I don't have an outro. I don't know what I'm going to say to end this other than, hey, Hasselblad, if you'd like for us to use this to make videos about this and the X1D, I'm down. Let's do it. Let's make some videos. I got to get back to work.